Wytheville Town Council meeting Monday, March 11th, 2024 at 5 p.m. held in the Municipal Building, 150 East Monroe Street, Wytheville, Virginia. We do have a quorum. Please stand for Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilwoman Candace Johnson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. And if council had seen, our citizens period was kind of way back, secondary to a public hearing. We do have somebody that has signed in. So with council's permission, I would like to amend the agenda and put the citizens period, which is now at number 10, in place after number 8, which would be after the public hearing. If council is agreeable to that, I would need a motion.
Wait, I have a question. Can I do a question now or wait? Ask a question now. If someone else comes in later, can they still speak, or would this just be the only time?
Well, that's the normal time. We're putting it back to a normal time.
Okay.
So do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I didn't hear you.
So a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I do, I'm sorry, Mayor Taylor. If someone comes, so if they go ahead and speak, and someone does happen to come in later, can someone else still speak or no?
Well, we usually don't run them off.
Okay.
It's just a
No, that's fine,
circumstances.
that's fine. I just had some people say that they may show up tonight, and I just wanted to make sure. I just didn't want to. Okay, thank you.
Was it published with the media, the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, so then if they do come in, we will afford them the opportunity to speak since the agenda was made public.
All right, that's what.
And, okay.
So do I have a motion?
You got it.
Got a motion and a second, and go with dialogue. All right, this will be a roll call vote, please. Start with
Yeoman, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Anderson, Johnson.
Agenda passed. Next is just a reminder that at 6 p.m. we can schedule a recess if necessary. Next is the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of the regular meeting of February 26, 2024. This requires a motion.
So moved.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, is there any discussion? Right here, none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well, that motion passes. Next on the agenda is consider the appropriations of the fiscal year 2023-24 budget. And we'll have a presentation by Mr. Brian Freeman.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. And I know for the folks in the audience, this will not be very easy to see up here. The primary reason for the necessity for a budget amendment this year is due to the increase in the primarily, but not exclusively, to the increase in VDOT maintenance funds that the town is receiving. Annually, the Commonwealth Transportation Board and VDOT issue payment schedules, and after July 1 of last year, we got an updated payment schedule and an increase in funding to the tune of about $730,000 annually. These payments come in quarterly, and the town is receiving those payments now, but those were not appropriated last year during the budget process. So up on the screen, you'll see in the sort of the first box on the top, you see that we're proposing to amend maintenance of streets by $511,086, traffic, street signs and lights by $74,382, snow and ice removal by $94,267, weed control and mowing by $50,265. And then the last entry on there is a $2,500 amendment for EMS, and that would come from EMS. That would come from use of reserves from donated funds for EMS. So that is the only other entry in the general fund amendment that is not related to VDOT transportation funding. And that was a request from EMS to do a joint banquet picnic with the event, basically, with the police department to do some awards banquet and some team building there. The primary revenue sources here, again, if you come down to that second main box, the first one there is categorical aid. That shows you the difference in the VDOT approved VDOT funding revenue and the increase of $730,000 with the use of reserves from donations of $2,500. In the brown box below is the remainder of the amendment is due to an insurance recovery on a pump at Pump Station 6 that was an insurance claim. We've received the $60,886 for the replacement of that pump back, but we need to put it back into the sewer fund appropriation so that they can still have that money. So I'll answer any questions you have about that. It's pretty straightforward as far as budget amendments goes.
So before we have the public hearing, does council have any further questions? So we will now open up the public hearing to consider the appropriations to the fiscal year 2023-24 budget. Unless anybody that's coming late wishes to speak towards that. We don't have anybody signed up specifically for that at this moment. So hearing none, we are going to go ahead and close that public hearing. And we need consideration by town council to approve the budget appropriations, to amend and appropriate the 2023-24 general fund budget in the amount of $732,500 and the wastewater fund budget in the amount of $60,886. This will require a roll call vote. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any further discussion? All right, roll call vote. Councilwoman Johnson?
Johnson, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Atkinson, aye.
Gilman, aye.
That motion passes. And next, for those that have signed in already, and we will make time for those that have not signed in, but speak during council and citizens' time, and Mr. Robbie Southers, come to the podium, please. State your name and your address for the minutes.
Hi, I'm Robbie Southers, 990 South 14th Street. I just received word about some of the updates about the bridge on South 20th Street, but I imagine that y'all maybe remember me from back in January. I've been experiencing several different things, and it always seems to happen on a Monday afternoon, so I've not been back. But I've learned that recently that the Madison Street is talking about being continued for an emergency exit, emergency road. However, but that is completely not what the people in my neighborhood want at all. There's not a person over there that wants that. I've since talked to, I don't know, maybe 10 people at least. And I don't know how many my dad has talked to, but no one wants that. This sounds expensive, timely, or untimely, and just ridiculous whenever we have like different outlets to be able to cross into town. Going down West Railroad Avenue is treacherous at times. I asked previously for lines on the road to divide the road because it's a bit narrow at sections and it's kind of curvy and hilly, and nothing has been done for that. The tunnel there on Grayson Highway has a pothole that has only grown since January. I'm a bit heated about this, as you can tell probably. Very passionate about this. It is ridiculous that this multi-billion-dollar corporation just posted record profits even after a train derailment last year that they had to pay $1.1 billion for. And they came out more this year or last year in 2024 or 2023. And we are like inferior to the Norfolk Southern shareholders at this point. And I am enraged about it. Everyone is enraged about it. Whenever Dad built the house up on South 14th Street, the bridge was like a primary thing. It's a staple of our daily life. And it's our connection. We have to drive all the way around. If there were a wreck there at the tunnel or at Grayson Highway, do you know how far we would have to drive to get to the hospital? But yes, anyway, I understand that this is a David and Goliath story, but I just ask that you be as enraged as I am as my elected officials. I can only do so much, and all I can do is appeal to you to fix this. Because you're my voice for this, right? I don't know what I pay taxes for if I do not have any kind of resolution on this matter. So, anywho, whether or not that's 18th Street crossing, the 20th Street bridge, I don't know. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Your concerns are not unfounded. They are working, and I'm allowing Mr. Freeman to answer some of your questions if you. They're not unheard. We're not just not doing anything. They are working. You may not see it out in the open. Things are taking place. They are taking place. We're not just going to. But it's been moved on. So
Sure.
I don't know if Mr. Freeman can add to that.
Well, I would just, a couple of little things. You know, the completion of Madison Street is strictly to give you a secondary outlet. A grade crossing is not an option. That the railroad controls that entirely. The odds of them giving us another grade crossing are less than zero. So that is not an option. So the completion of Madison Street would give you a second outlet.
Oh, I am all for the completion of that road. I'm just talking about how that just doesn't make much sense comparatively.
Well, and we're not saying that we would do it in lieu of every option that is available to us on the bridge as well. We're just not going to sit back and wait to give you a second outlet. Because
Sure.
It's a safety concern for us to not be able to get to you all, or to not even give you all an evacuation route. If there were a problem on the railroad, what we want you all to be able to do is get out of it, period. And if there were a problem on the railroad that blocked Railroad Avenue, it's just play hypotheticals, a chemical spill that personnel is saying you can't go this way. We've got to give you an alternative out, but it's not an alternative to getting you, to be clear.
Yes, yeah, and I'm all for that.
Okay.
All for it, absolutely. It's just a matter of. No, I apologize. Okay. It's just a matter of the time frame of that completion, and then like, what does that look like about maintenance? Is it just going to be a dirt road?
Well, that's a fair question. So the difficulty in getting it up to, say, a VDOT maintained road is because of because the amount of right-of-way that's there. You can imagine a road that is a fill slope. It's going to be a trapezoid because you're going to have these fill slopes. So those slopes would go outside of the amount of right-of-way we have. Meaning that we're not going to be able to get the paved width that is necessary to have a VDOT maintained road and get the fill slope geometry. So what we would get would be more like a passable ingress egress, but it's not going to look like a VDOT state maintained road. Now, after it's all bedded in there, could we get it tarred and gravelled or something like that? Sure, but it's not going to be exactly like a typical VDOT state maintained. We're going to be rolling in with a paving machine and all that right away. But what we're trying to figure out is how to get you something as quickly as possible that takes the least amount of engineering and the least amount of, and I don't want to say expense, but the more expensive it gets, it's typically because of more time and more engineering. And we don't think we need a lot of engineering. We've got calls into the Army Corps of Engineers because there's a small stream down there and working on permitting for that. Beyond that, it's a town forces job, so it's not an incredibly expensive job. It's basically fill material, compaction, culvert, and some milling.
Do you know of a relative time frame?
Our hope was to have it be a winter job, but that hasn't happened. Our hope was to have that done in 3 or 4 months. Really.
Okay. All right.
Fair question.
Yeah. But anyway, I've said my piece for now. Apologize if I'm heated or what have you. But
I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Is this, excuse me, is the sign still down there on 21? The sign that I know is down there before, like, cautious or slow down. It is.
I believe so. And yeah, there's multiple signs on that part. Some people slow down.
Okay.
A few. I don't know if you'll ever go that way or not.
And I was wondering, is there any way that the pothole can be looked into?
Certainly, and that's all going to get paved. It's on. I thought it was. Patched.
It looks as if it's been patched many times, and I don't know. It's just the way
it's on this year's paving schedule.
Yeah,
it's just out to bid right now.
It's out to bid, and I think they're going to bill.
Yeah.
That's why they're not patching it any more than they've already done so, because it's part of the paving schedule.
Yeah, so all that will get.
Sure. Okay.
Will that be like summer, or do you know?
No, that's in the next couple months.
Okay. So, but my question is can we fix the pothole until then?
We think it got just got patched.
I went there yesterday.
It's patched. Okay.
Okay. It must have been patched in the past 2 days or few days. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's a really deep. It's like the same patch. Maybe keeps getting popped out. I don't know.
Mr. Shows, it's right there, like where the tunnel is. It's right underneath there.
It's like dead. It's like going into town, turning out, and it's right in the line of the tire, and you can't get out over any to even a touch to get out of the way.
It was patched on Thursday.
Okay.
Because I got a call, and
Okay.
I called, and they patched it on Thursday.
Okay. Cool.
And just to add to that, one of the things you have to be careful about patching right directly under that overpass is that we have a clear limit, which is it's in a manner of inches.
It's literally inches.
And so that's one of the reasons why it needs to be
Okay. Milled is in dug.
old bad asphalt will be.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. All right. Well, I look forward to hearing from y'all and what have you, and any updates. So, thank you very much.
And I do appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Jones, if you would correct, I don't want to speak for other council members. I speak for myself. I think I might have said we, but I need to speak for myself only. I don't want to speak for others.
I'm sorry.
In the notes, when I addressed them, I said we, and I need to make sure that I speak for myself and not other council members. So that I need to make a correction on it. I don't want anybody to be upset that I said we and refer to the council that need to be implemented and said.
Right now, there's no other people signed up for citizens' time, but we'll keep that in mind. Next on the agenda is to consider authorizing the Wytheville Police Department to issue a purchase order for 2 police vehicles with the understanding that the funds will be appropriated in the fiscal year 2024-25 budget.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. Somewhat of a unique request here in that we are essentially asking for the council's blessing for the police department to issue a purchase order, which would be necessary to get their 2 new vehicles on order through the estate contract that is open right now. No money would go out until after July 1, but if you authorize the purchase of the 2 new vehicles, again, it is with the understanding that we will be budgeting that capital expenditure for the upcoming budget year. The 2 new vehicles would be Dodge Durangos. It would be about $82,000 to get both of those here, and then they would need about $12,000 in upfit. This would replace a 2014 Ford Explorer and a 2013 Dodge Durango, so 10 and 11-year-old vehicles respectively. We have been in a pretty good routine of we've been replacing about 2 every year. We've done that the last 3 years, and I think that's been really helpful with the fleet. The PD has been very gracious in passing those vehicles down to other departments that can still make use of them. They're just not something we want to keep out on the road doing police work.
Yeah, Mr. Freeman, this would be purchased, because I know there for a time that there was like a lease on the.
Yeah, so the last
purchase.
Yes, ma'am. So the last 3 years, the public safety has shifted more to purchase than leases. If you recall, about 2020 when COVID hit, the PD had been in, and the fire and EMS had been, I'll say, in the habit of, or in the typically had been leasing these vehicles. But at that time, when the chips were hard to get, car manufacturing was way down. There was something like a 28-month lead time on leased vehicles, but at that time we could purchase them and get them in about 10 months. So that made a lot more sense than purchasing something that you're going to get in 2.5 years. So that's kind of where that shift was.
Are we close to recycling them all to have like the older ones recycled out? Or?
If you get these 2 out, then the oldest would go to 2017. So there's another Durango and another Explorer that are 17s, and then you got a couple of 18 Durangos. So we're getting there. I think they've got a pretty good fleet. The Durangos, they're getting a little better service life out of. The Explorers, I think, all at some point in time have had. And I'm not disparaging any of our automakers, just our particular service with the Explorers has been not as good as with the Durangos. But if we get the 13 and 14 out of there, then the next oldest would be 217, a Dodge, a 17 Durango, and a 17 Explorer.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any other questions? And so I would ask council to consider to authorize the Wytheville Police Department to issue the purchase order. I will need a motion.
So
I'm going
moved.
to make a motion for the town council to authorize the Wytheville Police Department to issue a purchase order for 2 police vehicles with the understanding that the funds will be appropriated in the fiscal year of 2024-25.
So I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
In a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, this will be a roll call vote. Mr. Gilman?
Gilman, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Epson, aye. Thornton, aye.
Next on the agenda is considering scheduling a council work session for Monday, March 25th, 2024, and Monday, April 8th, 2024, at 4 p.m. in the council chambers before the regularly scheduled town council meetings to discuss the development of the budget for fiscal year 2024-25 and to consider adopting the proposed budget adoption calendar for fiscal year 2024-25.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. So 2 things here. We over the last couple of years, we've done at least 5 full meetings of the council to go over budget matters. We're asking that you all schedule a work session for March 25th at 4 p.m. and April 8th at 4 p.m. and also consider the first, second, and third readings on April 22nd, May 13th, and then take note of this last date is a Tuesday, May 28th, because the Monday is a holiday. So I want to make sure everybody is taking note of that. And it is the budget calendar, the 3 on the bottom, the 2 up top are optional. The 3 on the bottom, we do have to produce annually a budget calendar, and then the clerks will notice that. So that is a code requirement that we adopt a budget calendar. And that's effectively what this would be.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Taylor? So I need consideration by town council to schedule the 2 council work sessions and to adopt the proposed budget adoption calendar for fiscal year 2024-25. Motion? Yes, sir. And a motion, do I have a second? Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? That motion passes. Next on the agenda is to consider the request of the American Cancer Society for a waiver of fees for the use of Withers Park on Thursday, May 4, 2024, for the Relay for Life of Wytheville County event. Assistant Town Manager, have anything?
Okay, so in your packet, you have the request, and the date here is, looks like May the 4th, 2024. The value of the waiver of the rental fee is $350. And from what I understand, this has been a practice that the town council has done in previous years. So this applicant, the American Cancer Society, respectfully requests that you waive the park rental fees for this event.
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Holton?
I do. Do you know if they'll list the town like as a sponsor as well?
I do not, but we can communicate that that is our preference.
If that'd be okay.
Sure.
If we, I don't know what the other council members decide to do, but if we waive that, be sort of a nice gesture.
Okay. Is anybody opposed to that request? No. Okay, we will communicate that.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, any other questions for Ms. Holton? All right, need consideration by town council to approve or deny the request. Any motion?
I'd like to make a motion to waive the fees.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye as well, any opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. Next on the agenda is to consider the request of the Wytheville branch of American Association of University Women for the issuance of raffle permit for calendar year 2024. And here, do you have anything to add, Mr. Crane?
No, what you have in on your agenda info should be pretty self-explanatory.
All right, so do I have a motion? Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next is review the second draft of the Wytheville Farmers Market lease agreement and consider scheduling a public hearing for the town council meeting on Monday, March 25th, 2024 at 5 p.m. or as soon thereafter as possible. The council chambers to consider renewal of the lease of town property for the Wytheville Farmers Market located at 210 West Spring Street. Welcome, Ms. Holton.
Okay, so tonight is our second review of this draft lease agreement. You do not have to make a decision tonight. Tonight, we will look at it one more time, and we will schedule a public hearing if you so agree to do so. And then we will consider this again at your next town council meeting. So the lease agreement is essentially the same as the last time, except for I did want to point out that there was one section, item 25, that after Mr. Castle reviewed, he suggested that we remove that. It was just some standard contract language that had to do with legal fees relating to attorneys that he did not feel was relevant. The only other change that I made was regarding the utility fees. So in your packets, if you will turn to item number 14, which is shown as page 4 of the document and page 44 of your packet. And once you all get there, I'll continue. So the section is called Services and Utilities, and it's number 14 in the lease agreement. So essentially, for several years, the farmers market paid a utility fee of $215. I want to say that was probably calculated around 2020. After our last meeting, I thought, gosh, I probably need to double check that that fee is still correct. So I did. I got the dollar values from Michael Stevens in the treasurer's office of what the town pays for electricity, natural gas to Atmos, and the water and sewer utility fees. And that's how I came up with $338 per month. So in the lease agreement that you see before you tonight, you'll see that it reflects $338 per month, and I highlighted that for your attention. You will also notice that I did a staff report that Brandy put in your packets that outlined the breakdown of those utility fees. And just to give you some more clarity about where that comes from. As you know, everything's a moving target in this building, so there's continual updates. After the packet was sent out, we did an evaluation of the electric meter for that site, just to make sure that the farmers market was not paying for other things that the town operates as part of their electric utility fee. It was discussed that the control equipment for the Main Street radio, it's just the control equipment, not the speakers, is tied to that meter base. So what I would suggest is that we consider a reduction of the $338 per month. And speaking with the building maintenance supervisor, he stated that he does not think that equipment is any more than 10% of the electrical use of that building. So what I would like to do is to come back at the next meeting with a reduction to that $338 a month that reflects any electricity that we might be using for that speaker equipment, if you guys are okay with that idea. Is there any other conversations or questions or concerns about this lease agreement as it is now?
The farmers market in agreement with the draft that you have.
They are in agreement with the language. I did let them know about the utility fee increase. So I think they would be happy to hear that we will give them a slight reduction for the radio and speaker system. I mean, obviously that any other choices that you may want to make as it relates to that utility fee is at the discretion of council. It's staff recommendation that you do pass on those utility fees just because we are giving free rent to the space. And obviously it's a great organization that we want to continue to support, but our costs are also increasing for all of our departments as it relates to utilities.
It was our understanding in the past that they were getting grant funding to pay the utilities. And so the arrangement that we previously had was I believe the 215 or whatever that computation was based on prior year actuals. And now the prior year actuals are just higher than they were, and that they were getting grant funding to pay for this operational expense. That was our understanding in the past. We can try to verify that. I think that they may still be getting that funding.
They are. Mayor Taylor and I talked about that briefly earlier today. She spoke with Judy Buck earlier today, and they do apply for that funding. It is not a guarantee, but they do apply for it in August. And so that might be another change that I can make to the lease agreement, is that potentially instead of evaluating the utility fee in January, perhaps we can do that in July. And that gives them the ability to make a more accurate grant request for to help offset the utility fees. If you guys are okay with that, I can change that to say July instead of January.
I
Okay.
think that makes sense.
Okay, so I can make that change as well. All right, so at the next meeting, you will see another draft. And at this time, I believe there might be an agenda item to schedule the public hearing. But if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now, consideration by town council to schedule a public hearing for the Monday, March 25th, 2024 town council meeting. This requires a motion.
Move that we schedule a public hearing for a new draft for the farmers market on March 25th, 2024.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye as well. Any opposed? The motion passes. Next on the agenda is a presentation by Police Chief Joel Hash regarding the 2023 Wytheville Police Department's annual report. Hash.
Dr. Beth Taylor and members of Town Council, thank you so much for allowing me to be here to discuss the 2003 yearly report from the Wytheville Police Department. Each one of you should have a booklet. If you don't have a booklet, just let me know. I have some extra ones in the back. So I'm going to get started. 2023 was a positive and successful year for the Wytheville Police Department. Like every other police agency around us, the previous 2 years, the department was understaffed due to officers leaving the profession or going to departments that promise higher pay and benefits. Fortunately, we are fully staffed after hiring and sending new officers to the police academy. So I would like to thank Mr. Freeman and Town Council for allowing us to have those new officers. You know, a couple of years ago, we were down 6 officers in that 1 year, and the next year we were down 5 officers. So we had to send a total of 11 officers to the police academy, brand new officers, just off the street. But I'd like to thank you guys for allowing that to happen, because at this time we are fully staffed. And I'm real grateful for you guys for allowing us to, you know, have a fully staffed department, because it was rough at that time. You know, the guys were, you know, wore out and, you know, just working, you know, many hours just to trying to, you know, to keep up with, you know, what needed to be done in our town. In 2023, we had a total of 13,310 dispatch calls. We also had over 13,000 dispatch calls in 2022 as well, and that's indicated on the red tabs in your booklet, those calls. With having a fully staffed department, we had a noticeable change in our yearly crime statistics. The serious type A crimes was reduced by 29.46%, and that's in your booklet, that's the red tabs. I mean the blue tabs, I'm sorry. The minor type B crimes were reduced by 37.5%, which is, you know, your blue tabs also, which describes what type of crimes they are. Traffic crashes reduced by 34.35%. Traffic crash injuries reduced by 27.7%. Unfortunately, we had 1 fatality in December 23 at the traffic light on East Main Street going into Roses. And each one of you should be familiar with that accident. It was like a 4 to 5 car, you know, collision, and it was a bad one. Traffic summons increased by 33.48%, and that's speeding tickets and other traffic violations. Traffic violator contact increased by 45.7%, and that's officers having direct contact with the individuals in question. In short, having more officers on patrol equals less crime in Wytheville. The Wytheville Police Department is a very proactive department and enjoys an excellent working relationship with members of the community, businesses, civil groups, social services, mental health services, juvenile services, and other law enforcement agencies. Working together and involving community partners makes our success a team effort for the benefit of our community. 2020 through 2023 has reminded us that our most valued asset is the men and women who continue to show up shift after shift by keeping our community first. And I'm grateful with our staff because, they work 12-hour shifts, the patrol division does, and they do a fantastic job. And, I'm very appreciated with that. And the guys are appreciated what you guys do for them too. I mean, we have a very good town council and town manager and assistant town manager. And, when we say something or when we address issues with the department, Mr. Freeman, he takes those concerns seriously and he takes it in front of town council, and in most cases, things are done to help us do our jobs in a professional manner. Okay, where is that? Okay, working together and involving community partners makes our success a team effort for the benefit of our community. Okay, I already said that. Okay, we are a state accredited law enforcement agency. There are over 400 law enforcement agencies in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Wytheville Police Department is one of only 107 agencies that strive to achieve higher standards for the benefit of our department, our town, and our community. The department has been accredited for 22 years uninterrupted, which means we hadn't had any issues within the 22 years, going through a rigorous reaccreditation process every 4 years that must be maintained daily to meet the strict requirements. Wytheville is a highly active community with many events throughout the year. We have established programs that are successful and requested by the community. We meet with many community organizations to present safety talks on how not to be a victim, scams and frauds, security and safety assessments of their businesses and homes, or any other public safety concern. We instruct community CPR, AED, and first aid training throughout the year to the public. Safe ID systems for children and at-risk adults. Week-long kids summer camp, which has been very successful, and we have been doing this for several years. And I think the maximum amount of kids has always been 25, and there's always been more than 25 kids that apply for this program. And I think it's very successful. The kids learn a lot from us. They learn how to do things to protect themselves if anything was to happen. And I applaud Lieutenant Bard for overseeing this process. He has done a great job.
Chief, I have one question.
Yes.
Is there any way, I know you said there were over 25, excuse me, is there any way that could maybe go into 2 weeks, or could there be someone else help to include more than just 25?
We can work on that. The fire department normally helps us out with that.
Okay.
So they have many members at the fire department plus our guys. But I can check with Brian to see if we can get more kids, because it is a week-long event, and it starts that morning. It's like from 8 to 12, and they do a lot of activities with these kids. But I can check on it.
What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have the manpower.
Yeah, if we have the manpower.
I just hate to turn down, some children. But,
Yeah.
Because I know it is, I see the things on Facebook, so thank you.
Well, you're welcome. We also have a 10-week DARE class for fifth graders at elementary school, teaching them to make smart, safe, and responsible choices. Safety talks and danger stranger to younger children, speaking engagements to high school and community college criminal justice students, continuous positive social media presence to keep our community informed. And I would like to thank Lieutenant Bard for keeping our Facebook page up to date. I think he checks on that daily, and he tries to update the page to keep our community, everybody in our community informed of what's going on. Traffic enforcement campaign warning drivers about speeding, seatbelt usage, pedestrian safety, driving under influence, and driving distracted. Constant 24-hour police patrol through residential neighborhoods, businesses, retail locations, industrial areas, gas stations, and hotels in clearly marked police patrol vehicles. More visibility equals less crime, especially around the 24-hour business located off our interstate exits. And we get a lot of traffic from 77 and 81 into town. And, we try to keep a high presence of the police vehicles or, around that area just to deter, people from doing things that they shouldn't be doing. So I'm real thankful for the guys for, maintaining that. The new microwave UHF radio systems that went live February 2nd, 2024, which, we do have a new radio system now, which will allow us to communicate with the Wytheville County Sheriff's Office and with Fire and Rescue. Before, we had to go through Central Dispatch in order to communicate with the fire department and the Sheriff's Office. And that was a problem at times, especially during emergency situations, because it took up time. Now we have this new radio system, and it's all at a push of a button. We can talk to the fire department or to the Wytheville County Sheriff's Office. And I would like to thank Mr. Freeman and council for agreeing us to get the new radio system, because everybody is, up to par with, the fire department and with Wytheville County. So thank you, guys. What we have planned for 2024, we're going to continue with our successful programs and expand on our outreach. We have just partnered with the Training School to present at their community functions, collaborating with the Virginia Tech Police Department and modeling their successful citizen police academy. More proactive traffic enforcement campaigns to reduce speeding in town and other safety issues, traffic safety issues. The joint honor guard with the fire department and rescue, the joint award ceremony and dinner with the Wytheville Fire and Rescue, a career development program to promote employee retention. And recently we just added Mr. Bard, which you have this in your packet, a national night out event to the community, which is scheduled for August 6, 2024. And this is the first that we have scheduled. This is the first time we're doing this. And we have had a lot of response from these other agencies to participate August at Withers Park with this event. So we're expecting a big turnout. Though this has nothing to do with 2023, I would like to discuss the recent homicide that occurred in Wytheville. Wytheville has a low crime rate and is one of the safest places to live in Virginia. Violent crime is uncommon. The last homicide was 22 years ago on October 25, 2001, when a 17-year-old juvenile killed his father in a domestic dispute. The incident that occurred on Saturday, February 3, 2024, is uncharacteristic in our community. The incident was handled swiftly, efficiently, and the suspect was in custody in less than 30 minutes after the initial call was received. It is an ongoing homicide investigation, and I cannot speculate on the motive at this time. I would be negligent if I didn't thank Town Manager Brian Freeman, for the trust he has placed in me to lead the Wytheville Police Department. Thank you, Dr. Beth Taylor, Mayor, and Town Council members for the support you have given us. A huge thanks goes out to all the citizens for the trust, appreciation, and support you have given the Wytheville Police Department as well. In closing, the Wytheville Police Department strives to be the best for our community with an open door policy, transparency, and collaborating with community partners. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the job well done, you and your department.
Thank you. Any questions? Anything?
We appreciate y'all.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate
I'm glad
it.
you're back to officers, because I know there forever you were short, and
Yeah,
we
we were
worked diligently on trying to do that.
Yes,
Get you back
thank
up
you.
to
But it wouldn't
par.
happen without you guys.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Rivers. Appreciate it.
I'm glad you're back up there.
Yeah, we are. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Well, we did not have anybody come in at this point. We still have kind of a citizen period there. New business, Town Manager Freeman, I don't think.
No new business.
Reports, we're going to consider the recommendation of Budget and Finance Committee. Vice Mayor has a report.
Thank you, Mayor.
the 2024-25 employee health insurance renewal. Town of Wytheville offers its employees insurance through the local choice, a state health benefits program established by the General Assembly in 1989. The local choice serves Wytheville, along with many other local governments and public school systems across the state. Each year, participating entities are evaluated, and new rates for the upcoming year are established. The rate for each locality is established based on their usage of the policy through the year, as well as the combined rate with all other agencies across Virginia. The revised rates are then provided to each entity for their consideration during the insurance renewal period. This year, there was a 10.5% increase. By April 1st, 2024, it will be necessary for the town of Wytheville to initiate the renewal and declare the percentage of the plan offerings being covered by the town and employees respectively. After careful consideration, it is the recommendation of the Budget and Finance Committee that the town renew the local choice with the same plans and continue to pay the 92.7% blended rate for employee-only insurance plans within an additional $350 monthly contribution to the Plus One and family plans.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. This is coming from a committee, so it needs no second. Is there any questions?
Is that up, Vice Mayor, from last year, the amount?
It's the same amount, Ms. Atkins.
The family plus one and family
The
is up.
family plan
Is increase.
is a $100 increase.
Thank you. Thank you all for doing that.
Any other questions? This will be a roll call vote. Start with Councilwoman Johnson.
Johnson, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Gilman, aye.
That motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is Town Manager Brian Freeman again. Anything? No?
Nothing. I would just say that we continue to, obviously, it's a critical time of the year for the budget. Getting through the health insurance renewal will take up some time in the next couple of weeks, but our primary focus this time of year is still on the budget. And so that is my report for this evening.
You're quite the man of the hour.
Thank you.
Upcoming meetings by Chief Deputy Clerk Randy Jones.
The Planning Commission meeting scheduled for Thursday, March 14th has been canceled. The Homestead Museum Advisory Board will meet on Friday, March 15th at 10 a.m. at the Jackson House. Downtown Wytheville Incorporated will meet on Monday, March 18th at 5:30 at the Downtown Wytheville Incorporated office. The Wytheville Redevelopment and Housing Authority will meet on Wednesday, March 20th at 12 p.m. at the Housing Authority office. The Water Authority will meet on Thursday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the water plant in Austinville. District 3 Board will meet on Thursday, March 21st at 6 p.m. at the Marion office. And the next council work session will be held at 4 p.m. on Monday, March 25th, prior to the regular scheduled meeting of the town council at 5 p.m. here in the council chambers.
That's all. Next on the agenda is council member time. Mr. Jones.
I have nothing at this time.
Woman Atkins.
Well, I do have a few things, I'm sorry. I do want to check on the delineators, I can never say that. Didn't know how that was coming in the process of public works and safety for employees.
I'll have to check. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll have to check.
Let's see. And I was wondering if, I know Mr. Freeman and I talked about this, looking at maybe doing some type of a different policy on adjusting water bills that have leaks. I'd like to try to update that and see, look a little bit more into that. Don't mind. Also, I did talk to Mr. Freeman too about this. I really would like to see some informational TVs in the break rooms for employees. I know I've asked about that for quite some time, and I know Mr. Freeman's looking into that. People are busy and things like that, but I'm really hard set on that for some reason. Just have some concerns for employees that need that. So, also a question about the resolution that I had mentioned a little while back. Just want to make sure that's still on the table of doing. And also, Mr. Freeman and I, we've talked about this, and I would like a little bit more information on it. And if we can get together about the software and accountability for record keeping and timesheets for employees. And I know I had mentioned that last meeting, but I'd like a little bit more information up to that. And I think we can maybe talk about that somehow, some way. So,
Certainly.
And one more thing, didn't know if we could look at doing something for the employees about a community involvement outreach, community service to give an employee to do an outreach with whatever church organization, a serve day or something like that of their choice. If they can go out and do that, be a representative of the town. Of course, they would get paid for it, but of course they'd also have to, give something back into you all in turn that they're actually doing part of service. Just what do you all think about that? Is it something that we can look into, maybe?
I think so.
Anybody?
I'm just not sure of what you're saying.
Hello out there. I just think it may be for like the town employees to be able to go out and serve in the community. There might be something that you want to do in the community that's maybe during your work time, like give them one day to do that. Necessarily, it might not be able to be on a weekend without actually having to take a personal day, vacation day, or time for that, or comp time, where they could actually serve in the community. Say, for instance, the senior day coming up in Withers Park. If for some reason Miss Holton wanted to go down there and serve, let her go down there and serve versus not taking, quote, time for that. But we actually honor her to go do that as long as there's some type of record keeping documentation for that. So,
In other words, providing service while on the job.
pretty much, because instead of taking like a personal day, vacation day, or comp day, because sometimes it's sort of hard to get off from my understanding.
I think I would give another example. You will see a lot of, say, industries or organizations that sign up for a day, for example, to provide the lunch service at home or something like that. That would be an example. You'll see certain days of the week might be, I don't want to name any industries or something, but that would be the kind of thing I can imagine, that type of thing.
Or a Veterans Day program.
Something like that, yeah.
If they would like to go and be a part. I think that's a great idea myself.
But it's just something that maybe y'all can toy with, you and Miss Holton. And right now, that's it.
Okay.
But I reserve the right, so it's all right.
I do not have anything, so I'll move on to Vice Mayor.
Nothing is this time.
Move on to Ms. Johnson.
I have one thing, Mountain View Drive, Mr. Woods is working currently, is that correct? On the traffic calming situation there.
Mm-hmm. I talked to him about it today.
Okay, and can you all let me know when he's
I think we were talking about an April date.
okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I have. I do reserve the right to come back.
Next would be committee reports. If any council has a committee they want to report on. So even though we're getting ready to go into a closed session and there are council people that might have wanted to come back for council member time, I was approached by a citizen to ask us if we could do all this before we go into closed session so that they don't have to sit there and wait, come out, and then hear nothing. know what I'm saying, like, I reserve the right to come back, that kind of thing. Am I making sense? So in other words, do we have everything before we go into closed session? Everybody said they don't want to say. As far as your council member time.
As far as council member time, yes, ma'am. Just council member time.
So town council now feels the need to go into a closed meeting pursuant to 2.2-3711A7, consultation with legal counsel pertaining to probable litigation. Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion? Second?
Second.
And second, is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye as well. And now, does anybody need a recess? Yes? Okay. Town council is now in open session. A motion is necessary to certify that only matters lawfully convening the open session were discussed. I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? All right, this will be a roll call vote. Mr. Gilman?
Gilman, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Johnson, aye.
Ayes have it. We are now adjourned.
Thank you.